49ers defensive coordinator Steve Wilks has been under fire this year for how he's been calling defensive plays and schemes and dialing certain things up. And no more apparent issue popped up than in the Vikings game at the end of the half, where the San Francisco 49ers gave up a big time touchdown that ultimately changed the outcome of the game. And in big part due to the call that Steve Wilks made, which was considered to be a no-no in that type of scenario. If you are unfamiliar with the play that we are speaking of, here it is right here. Well, local media asked Kyle Shanahan what he thought about the play call from Steve Wilks in this scenario. And Kyle Shanahan did not mince words when it came to discussing the fact that he really did believe that Steve Wilks, quote, messed up that play call in a situation where you can't have that scenario play out. Take a listen right here to what Kyle Shanahan had to say about the decision Steve Wilks made on this particular play.
You said after the game about your own zero blitz at the end of the first half that it was something you discussed during the week. What have those conversations been like with Steve Wilks, and kind of where's your understanding about what you guys were trying to accomplish with that?
Yeah, I think he knows. You guys, I think, talk to him tomorrow. He knows he messed up on that call. I have no problem with zero blitzes, especially when people need a lot of yards. You know, if you need to get 20 yards to kick a field goal, I have no problem with the zero blitz. But I do when there's 16 seconds left, and that's where he lost track. There was no necessary need for that just because of the time. I have no problem with the call. But I mean, I have no problem with that play call. But when it's that time, you can't do that. It's not an option.
It's not too often that you hear Kyle Shanahan kind of take a shot at one of his own coaches. Typically, they try to deflect or take their own responsibility or what have you. But Kyle Shanahan straight up said that Steve Wilks messed up. And he did, because obviously, for the reasons that Kyle Shanahan explained. In that type of scenario, down and distance, timing, where they are on the field, you don't want to run zero blitz with no safety help over the top for your cornerbacks. And obviously, it almost turned into an interception, but that wasn't the case. It turned into a touchdown. And the reason why is because they had no safety help over the top. They weren't playing a prevent style defense. They were playing a attacking style defense with a situation where the Vikings had 17 seconds left on the clock, and they had to drive upwards of 60, 70 yards downfield to potentially put themselves in a scoring position. So in that type of scenario, you don't need to be aggressive. In fact, you play all your safeties back. You keep everything in front of you, which is the style of defense Steve Wilk typically implores. And it's one of the questions that he's been under fire for from the fan base is he plays a lot of off zone and off coverages, which allows everything to be completed underneath. But in an instance where that was the type of style of defense that you wanted to put out there, he did the opposite and had an attacking style defense. Zero blitz means zero coverage, zero safety help over the top, and it burned the San Francisco 49ers for a big touchdown that, again, it's impacted the entire outcome of the game, because as we know, the 49ers lost by less than a touchdown, and it changed everything. So Steve Wilks, not only under fire by the fan base, but seemingly Kyle Shanahan isn't really pleased with the way things have been called recently either. So, what's going to be very interesting to see what develops from the situation is what happens with him moving forward. Is he going to potentially be stripped of his play calling duties? I know a lot of people have issues with him being in the box. I personally don't have an issue with that. I think of Vic Fangio, who was the 49ers defensive coordinator back under Harbaugh. He was in the box all the time. I really had no issue with it as long as you're doing your job and calling quality plays. But it'll be interesting what's to come if these types of things continue to happen. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think should happen? What do you think the outcome is from this situation? Obviously, you hear Kyle Shanahan, he is not pleased with that play call, and Kyle obviously knows that had a dramatic change on the entire game. So what do you guys think of what Kyle had to say? Him taking him pointing out what Steve Wilks did. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about the whole Steve Wilks situation, the 49ers defense in general? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.